Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. Got an exciting program for you this morning. Well, I'm excited. I hope you are. But first, a quick note of interest. We have the air conditioner guys here yet again. In fact, they just pulled up and they just walked through there. So you might hear or see activity. That's what's going on. This is the fifth or sixth time on this particular AC unit that they've been out. Yeah, it's working fine now. It's just that it is surging and making all kinds of noise outside. And I thought, that ain't right, you know. So as soon as we told them that, they said, turn it off. And they said they would be out in the morning. And so sure enough, they're here first thing. So they're real good guys, real good company. I've got 100% faith in them. It's just one of those instances where, you know, it's just one of those deals. I don't know how to explain it. Call that the Rosa luck. But anyway, the one on the other end has never given one lick of problems, and I shouldn't have said that out loud. We had a great jam at Dickey's Barbecue Pit last night. In fact, it was awesome, and the crowd was the biggest crowd we've had since we went to every other Tuesday thing, or the first and third Tuesdays of the month gig. It was a really big crowd. I mean, I wouldn't call it quite a sellout, but it was really close. It was really close. It was pretty full and just having a great time. Lots of good feedback, lots of clapping. It was just real good. Anyway, while I was there, well, Leon wasn't there, unfortunately. It would have been better had Leon been there on that one for sure, because he gives so much drive to the music with his banjo, and it would have that would have been the cherry on top had Leon been there. But unfortunately, he didn't make it. Well, I got another fix that I had to fix. You know, it seems like I don't need to do this as a living. My friends keep me busy, friends and relatives. The D40 case on Gary's guitar. I'll hold it up here and show you. This handle, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but this handle, right here, there's a piece of metal that loops around this D-ring, and then it just comes back up. It's just like a hook. Well, the leather had come off, and the hook had gotten weak, and it would slip off of this ring, and Gary had been putting it back on for quite a long time, actually. And so I said, well, why don't I take and wrap a wire around that to keep it tied shut, and then I'll put the leather back and glue the leather back. And that's what I did. I don't know if you can see it there or not, but anyway, it's been repaired. You can't really tell it. I don't think it'll come off anymore. I think it's more or less a permanent fix. Unless the metal itself actually breaks, and of course I can't control that. But anyway, I think it'll be fine. Let's see. I have, in the comment or on my title of this video, I said I have two projects I want to try to knock out before I leave. Well, I have one project I need to knock out before I leave. I'll show you how that evolved here right now. Here's the first part of the first one. Well, my friends, the good news and the bad news. The good news is I got the base to the Creality laser cutter after receiving just the cover before. That's the platform that goes underneath it. And anyway, unless I've done something horribly wrong, it seems to be DOA. I have everything plugged in. You can see that there's power to the power plug there, and there's a lock here, and it actually shows a lock, and so presently the lock is on. I can turn it off or on, either way. Press the power button here on the side, turn it on, and nothing happens whatsoever. I've tried it both ways. Turn it on and off with it in the on position. Turn it on and off, or back the other way, off and back on. in this position. I see nothing, I hear nothing. The computer, I have it plugged into it with a cord here to the computer. The computer doesn't recognize it. There's something rotten in Denmark. And I don't know what that is, but I'd sure like to figure that out before I leave to go down to Mountain View so that I can get this review going as soon as possible. I already have some plans for this. I've seen some videos online, and this seems to be a pretty good unit. It's the same power, or at least it's supposed to be the same power, 40 watts, as the other laser cutter I have. So I was a little disappointed in that. I was hoping to get a bigger one. But based on what I've seen online, this one will cut much thicker material. This one, my old one struggles to get through a 1/4 inch. This one I've seen online where they've cut through 1/2 inch very easily, and one person cut through 3/4 inch plywood. Wow, that's way more than mine down there in the shop will do. So I'm looking forward to trying this baby out. Another advantage is this one doesn't use water to cool it. It only uses air to cool it. And that's an air pump over there. Now, there was no extra cord for that. I have it plugged in right here. And, I don't see any movement out of that either. So I really don't know what the issue is. But hopefully I'll be able to figure it out. I haven't got into the directions all that much yet. So I have to maybe get in there a little deeper. You know how the directions are on things like this. A little tedious. So that's my dilemma. Wish me luck. It's not easy being me. First thing, I hate people to say acronyms and they don't say what they are. I said DOA, and I'm sure 99% of you know that DOA means dead on arrival. But I like to always define anytime I use an acronym, and I should have said it then, but I didn't. So DOA was dead on arrival, and not so much. It wasn't dead on arrival at all. I've mentioned before about the reading problem many times, actually, and I've also, in conjunction with that, I've hinted to the fact that symbols, like flowcharts and symbols and things like that, like road signs that are symbol-oriented rather than words, symbols don't do it for me. It takes a lot of looking at them and to try to understand symbols. I don't know why. It's just been, I would not be a good guy to try to decipher hieroglyphics, like Egyptian hieroglyphics. That would not be my line of work. I'm not good at looking at symbols. Well, all of the machines in my shop, and I have quite a few that have the red stop button, and you push and you pull them in, pull them out, that kind of thing. Well, I tried that on this. You can push this one, and it has like a spring built into it. You push it down, nothing. I pulled up, nothing. I didn't get any effect. Well, there's a symbol on the top, and the symbol has an arrow going like this. And it just didn't register that you twist it. Now, I've seen a twist stop button before, but I don't have any of those, and it wasn't occurring to me. And the symbol didn't do it for me, but let me show you part 2 of this video. Well, I figured it out. You can see it's come to life there. It's got some lights on it and a light on the front. And it was just making a lot of noise there a second ago, but it settled itself back down before I got the camera on. Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'm just a dummy. That's the whole problem. Yeah, that's it. So it was just the stop button. It's a twist type stop button rather than a push and pull. At least it was something simple. I'm glad that that's all it was. Whew. You can get into some really nightmarish scenarios with this kind of equipment, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be that. So, like I said, it's just not easy being me. One of these days, you guys will fully understand that. It's not easy being me on a lot of levels. Let's see. I have another project that I want to do today before I leave for Mountain View in the morning. and that is this. And what is this, you might ask? And some of you already know instantly by looking at this what this is. I'm sure a whole bunch of you have no clue what this is. It is a fuel pump for my Polaris Ranger. The last several times that the fuel pump needed to be, fixed, I've just rebuilt this unit down here. You can buy these little fuel pump units, and I just cobbled it together, if you will. Well, now that I've got the Ranger running so much better, it's really noticeable that I don't think it's getting enough fuel either. I think that's part of the problem. At the high end, especially when you're driving it. I mean, like it idles now, runs and idles fine. It's perfect. But it won't, it doesn't, you can tell it's struggling for fuel when you get going. And I'm pretty sure it's the cobbled up fuel pump crap that I've put in it over the years. Not too many people would take all this apart and fix it, just put a cheap replacement fuel pump in there. You can get them for like $10 or $12, and these are like $75. Well, if you buy the OEM, this is like $200. So anyway, this one had a real good rating. It's not an OEM, but it's like a $75 one, had a super good rating. So I thought, well, I'll just get this one, And so, believe it or not, this will only take me, knock on wood, I shouldn't say this. This will only take me about 10 minutes to do, if that, to put that in. It's very easy to do. Again, I shouldn't say that out loud. It's crazy. But anyway, those are easy to put in there. You just unscrew the lid on the thing, unplug the one plug, plug the plug back in on the new one, drop it in place, and screw it down tight. You're done. It's pretty fast. Let's see if it works. That also has a sending unit in it, which might make the fuel gauge more accurate, but I'm not counting on that. Even when it was accurate, when we had it brand new, that fuel gauge sucked canal water. It was just really hard to see, hard to read. Like somebody pointed out, it's way over to the right, and it's that LCD, liquid crystal diode stuff that, I don't know, maybe because I'm colorblind, it's really hard for me to see that kind of thing. And so, especially at an angle, and I never did. I always ran out of gas even when it was new. So now I've got that wonderful gas gauge right in front of me, and it seems to be accurate so far. It's down to about a half a tank now. I started out at over 3/4 of a tank when I put that in there. So it seems to be dropping as per normal use, So I think that's going to fix that problem, and I hope this fixes the other problem. Let's see. What else? Mountain View. While I'm in Mountain View, I'm planning, in my spare time, because like in the late evenings and stuff, I plan to start going through my own mandolin training again and taking notes for the mandolin training we're going to start doing live online. I am going to start doing it on Thursday evenings, so not this coming Thursday evening, but the following Thursday evening. We should start actually having those lessons, and I'll just start them at 7 o'clock. I don't know if that's too late. It's probably about the right time for me, though. About 7 o'clock in the evenings, we'll start those lessons. And like I said, we're going to cut it off to a half-hour lesson and then a half-hour of question answers and call it good. And that's the way we're going to do it. As I've mentioned, I will probably have the banner running across the bottom of the screen, but I got to thinking about that, and I'll probably only put the banner up after the first half hour. I'll probably put the banner up during the questions and answers. That way it won't block anything, what I'm showing on the screen. And for those of you who are interested, the lessons are going to be pretty basic and really start out very basic. And over time, we may build to, I'm sure we'll get into the very complicated songs and things like that. And I may just get the urge to continue on and show you how I play lead and all that too, and try to show that in very good detail. And so it could progress into quite a whole thing. So we'll see how it goes. And let's see. I put in the title that I have something I want to read to you. I'm going to give you a few little directions here. Listen to it really carefully. I'd like to know what you think about it when I'm done, and try to figure out, the mind of the person that wrote this, and read between the lines, think about the words they chose, the specific words, and why they chose the specific words, things like that. So just think about it here. Let me read it. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a good reader, so kind of ignore the the mess that I'll probably make of it. But I'll try to read it the best I can. So let me see here. Get it where I make sure I can see the whole thing on my screen. I'm going to pull it over here and hopefully, if it'll let me, pull it up in front of, below the camera here to read it. Okay, here we go. In the heart of Missouri, where the wild winds blow, there's a calling in the forest and the rivers flow. With a rifle in my hand and a rod by my side, I heed the whispers of nature where my spirits fly. Hunting the dawn, fishing the streams, Missouri's embrace, where adventure gleams. Through fields, through woods, we wander free. With the crackle of leaves and the scent of the pine, I tread softly, feeling nature's grand design. In the stillness dawn, as the world awakes, I find solace in the hunt is more than just stakes. Hunting the dawn, fishing the streams, in Missouri's embrace where adventure gleams. Through fields, through woods, we wander free. From the Ozark Hills to the great rivers wide, every hunter and angler finds their stride. It's not just the game or the line, but it's the stories we gather like treasures divine. So here's to hunters and anglers bold in Missouri where legends are told. Okay, let me move that out of my way here. And let's see. And I think that's everything I was going to cover this morning. I'm curious what you think about that. That was written from the mind of a 10-year-old boy. Trinian wrote that. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't write like that when I was 10 years old. And he barely turned 10. As you remember, what was it, 2 live shows ago? He turned 10 and we sang happy birthday to him. So he wrote that a couple of months ago. So he might have still been 9 when he wrote it, technically, but, he on the cusp of being 10 years old. Now, I didn't use words like divine and heed and things like that when I was 10. I'm pretty sure that I didn't write anything in the neighborhood of that kind of writing when I was 10 years old. It was like, see Dick run, see Spot. So anyway, I thought that was pretty good, and I thought it was worth a read. Hope you enjoyed that. Let's go to the top. Eddie Turner was number 1. John Pepper, our Tom Armstrong, David Tharp, Bill Webb. It's like ditto every day anymore. Dave Hunt's there. Let's see. Moving on. Wayne Blitz says it's overcast and rainy. Hope everyone's having a good day. Let's see. Moving on down. Looking for the question marks. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. And we're going to have a wonderful time in Mountain View. By the way, the band confirmed that, Don, the bass player, and Gary, the guitar player, and Bill, the other guitar player, who's not technically a band member, but he's an honorary band member, he's going to be down there too. So we'll have some good jams with us 4, and then we've got friends coming in. Bo Horn's coming in from Louisiana, and my buddy Bruce Robinson's coming in from Oxford, Mississippi, and there are several other viewers that have contacted me and said they're going to be there. So there's 3 or 4 of those. So there'll be some fun going on down there. I hope you're able to make it down there and join in. If you get down there and you can't locate us, well, send me an email, and I'll be checking my email, and I will text you, and put your phone number in there so I can text you, and then that way you'll have my text number to find out where we're at. Easy for me to say. My tongue's wrapped around my eye teeth. I can't see what I'm saying. Let's see, moving on down, looking for the actual question marks, kind of ignoring the rest. David Tharp, the first time my wife took her driving test, she got 8 out of 10. The other 2 jumped out of the way. They were kind of quick, huh? She got 8 out of 10. Yeah, I took my driving test, and the guy made me fail on purpose. I mean, he really did. When you're only 16, when an adult says something with a lot of force, you tend to do what they say, and especially if you grew up with my dad. If he says something, you better do it. Well, I was with the driving instructor, and we were at a red light. Now, I know it's a red light. And how you can turn right on red now? Well, I don't think you could back then. He says, as soon as it's clear, go. And he said it like 3 times. Oh, as soon as it's clear, go. Well, I'm thinking there's a red light, And I don't say nothing to him because, I don't know, I was just a kid and I didn't want to talk back to an adult. So, and he said it like 3 times, and he just was real insistent about it. And he was trying to make me fail. So sure enough, I turned right and he failed me. What a jerk, And I was so disappointed about that, and it just made me so mad. And I thought, what a jerk. He just was a jerk. But anyway, water under the bridge never affected me. You can tell it still aggravates me. Bill Webb, Richard Cooksey, we're in East Texas. I'm in Commerce, Texas, about 70 miles. Okay, they must be having a private conversation. David Tharp, we don't throw away good food at our house. We put it in a Tupperware bowl and keep it in the refrigerator until it goes bad. Then we throw away. There's definitely science experiments in our refrigerator. I guarantee you, it's that way all the time. And it's Sue overbuys, and then I'm not complaining, but she overbuys, and there'll be stuff in there that never even gets out of the package, and it's out of date. Oh well, that's the price of living in America. It's the good life, Tom Armstrong. Well, that's not question marks. Sorry. Let's see. Moving on down. Dottie, Jerry, while you are in Mountain View, could you take some video of you all doing some picking? Well, I'll try to. I'm not going to do too much. If I do shoot any, it'll probably be with my cell phone. I might take a camera down there, but the camera thing's such a hassle. Partly because you almost always have to use batteries, and I hate using batteries in a camera. You know my luck. It doesn't matter. I don't care if they're fresh batteries and totally charged. As soon as I start doing it, something happens and the batteries go dead. It's just the way it works with me. So I don't know. If I do it, it'll probably be with my cell phone, and that means that I'll be holding the cell phone, so I won't be doing the picking, but we'll get some of it maybe. Bruce Moore, I love the water wheel. It's so peaceful. For my part, you could show it every morning. Yeah, I love it too. And it'd be kind of cool if we had some sort of an intro with it now. Maybe I ought to think about changing my intro since I'm not actually working in the shop as much. It's a good idea. I'll kick it around. I don't know if I've got enough pay grade to make a real professional intro. I don't know if my pay's high enough. I'll see. I'll try. We'll do something. It's not a bad idea, though. Maybe once we get the house built and all that, where it looks really cool. Moving on down. After we went live, Walt Willard, Zappa, Paul Lanier. Let's see. Bill Rhodes, good morning. And then David Tharp. Here's a public service announcement. Don't go to the vacuum cleaner store. Everything they sell sucks. Yeah, well, at least you hope it does. Blackjack guitar. Jerry, what's the red button for? The red button for, and maybe you said that before you saw my fix. Yeah, that's the stop button down there, and I didn't really realize it was red even. I assumed it was because all of them are, but I didn't, I look at it, I don't see anything glaring like people that can see colors. That stuff, apparently red just glares out to you. Well, it doesn't glare out to me at all. It's just kind of blends in with the background for me. Yeah, and I'll tell you what I hate is when they put on the screen, when they put stuff in red that you're supposed to really pay attention to. Yeah, it don't do nothing for me. It don't do nothing. Now, if they put it in blue, I can see blue on the screen, but red don't do nothing for me. And, and everybody knows that most people that are colorblind are red-green colorblind. You'd think they'd be thinking about that. No, they don't think about that. It's I don't know. There's so many things in this world that are just so amazingly stupid to me. And that's one of them. I mean, seriously, why would you use red all the time? I mean, I know 90% of the people can see that. But if it's really important, everybody needs to see it. So maybe a different color, I don't know. I don't know. Just makes no sense to me. But then again, I'm seeing it from my side. It's not easy being me, remember. David Tharp, my Grizzly bandsaw has a twist on off knob. Okay, well, mine doesn't. Mine are push buttons. Push on and off. I have had a twist on and off, but I can't remember when or where. I don't have one presently, I don't think. Bill Webb. Well, I do now. I got this laser cutter. Bill Webb, Richard Cooksey. Yeah, I know about where that's. Okay, well, I guess they're having their private conversation again. Let's see. It scrolled, so I got to find where I was. Man, it scrolled a long way. Okay, here we go. Ben Boyd, OEM, is that another acronym? Yeah, original equipment manufacturer. That one's a pretty common when you see it on everything anymore. I didn't think about that one, but yeah, you're right, OEM. I like to always say what an acronym is. If you're giving a talk, especially like if you're being interviewed. I saw an interview the other day. Well, actually, it was on the Outdoors with the Morgans channel, and he was interviewing these tree climber guys. Every word that came out of their mouths was some sort of an acronym for what the equipment they were using. Yeah, you take this SEM and you throw it over the ROQ, and it was just like that the whole time. And I'm going like, what are you talking? Which language are you speaking? You don't think about. People in his industry would know exactly what he's talking about, but the rest of us are, what are you saying? So anyway, if you're ever giving a speech and you're throwing out lots of acronyms, try to define them. Or writing anything for that matter, at least the first time, try to define it, But thank you, Ben, for pulling the chain there, because I shouldn't take anything for granted on an acronym like that. But OEM is a pretty common one anymore, because everything pretty much talks about original equipment type thing. But anyway, Clyde Price, good morning, Jerry and viewers. Have a safe and wonderful trip to Mountain View. Thank you, Clyde. David Tharp, I borrowed my son-in-law's mandolin. Hope you can teach an old dog new tricks. Well, we'll give it a shot. I've said this several times before, but my oldest student, she was bumping 80, and I don't know if she was quite 80 yet, but she was close. And this was quite a long time ago. This was 20 years ago. Pretty close to that anyway. And she was trying to learn to play banjo. And I said, well, you probably picked the second hardest instrument, really. I said the fiddle's, in my opinion, the hardest, especially at an older age to learn, and the banjo's probably the second hardest. I said, if you really want to play banjo, why don't you switch over to mandolin first? Let me teach you about timing and chords and understanding of music and all that, and then go back to banjo. I said, you'll be able to switch to the banjo much easier. You'll understand so much more. And then all you got to work out then is the fingering, and you'll have all your timing and everything else down. And she goes, okay. So I switched her over to mandolin. She took to it like a duck to water. And she never went back to banjo. She liked the mandolin that much that she just stayed on the mandolin. And then later she moved out to California and ended up getting in a local band out there, and they played nursing homes all over the place. She, for years, sent me little clips and things of them playing at nursing homes and stuff. So there you go. Anybody can learn. Mandolin is crazy easy. I mean, it's crazy easy compared to most of the other instruments. Some people say, well, bass is the easiest. And it, arguably it probably kind of is. But it's not easy either, really. And the thing about the mandolin is that I think by learning it with this method, you'll learn so much more about music. You'll understand the music and understand why things happen like they happen in music on a common sense level rather than the technical, complicated level. And it'll just make sense to you. And you'll go, oh, wow, this is not near as hard as I thought it was. In fact, I used to say this, and I try not to say it because it sounds a little smug maybe, or maybe it sounds kind of downgrading, and I don't mean it that way at all. In fact, I mean it at the face value of what I'm saying, and that is, I used to say all the time, it's actually so easy that I can't believe I have to teach it. It's that easy. It really is that easy. It's that everybody thinks because they've seen all the complicated structural type music lessons that it's really hard and really difficult and really complicated, and it's not at all. It's really not at all. So try to wrap your head around that. Start thinking in those terms that it's going to be common sense. And as I tell you that, the hardest thing, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, I've said it a lot of times already, but everybody blows this off. The hardest thing you will have to get over is if you already know something, I want you to forget what you know. And you can't do that. Nobody can do it. Everybody always tries to compare what I'm telling them with what they already know. If you can avoid that, you'll be 10 steps ahead of the rest of the people. Try to avoid comparing to what you already know, because what you already know is complicated. This is going to be black and white, simple. I promise you it is. So there you go. Let's see. Gary Cooper says, storms in Leon County, Texas this morning. Well, it looks a little, I didn't go out to check the dew, but it looks a little stormy kind of out here today, actually. A little overcast at least. That's the way it looks. It doesn't look sunny, and it probably would by now, I would think. Charles Salkowitz, the Austin Ukulele Society on YouTube might be a good lesson format. Okay. Well, Charles, I'm probably not looking to learn any new lesson formats. Well, maybe the format, maybe what you're talking about. I don't know. I'll look at that. But I've pretty much got my whole method down, and I'll probably stick to it. Now, maybe there's something different that you're talking about that I'm not aware of, and I'll look at that. Yeah, any suggestions that are helpful like that, I need to at least consider them. So I'll look at that. I better write it down, though, because I won't remember. That's the problem. Austin Ukulele Society. All right, I'll look at that. Simon Jardine. He's talking to somebody else. No question marks. Let's see. Carolyn Fike, wow, how deep and picturesque. He's amazing. Well, thank you. I think that's exceptional. I mean, I didn't write anything like that when I was 10 years old. Nothing like that. Nothing that deep. Nothing with those big words. Nothing with those kinds of esoteric thoughts, if you will. I mean, there's a lot more going on in that poem, than just the words even. Bill Webb, sounds good. Yeah, that's amazing for a 10-year-old. I was thinking Daniel Boone or some other early pioneer. Very impressive. Yeah, he just did that on his own, too. Nobody suggested anything. He just did it on his own. So I'm telling him that, next time they have some sort of a writing assignment, it's class or whatever, if you can, work that into it. Let the teacher hear that, I think that's exceptional for 10. I really do. I don't mean to, like I'm patting myself on the back because it's my grandson. I just think that's exceptional for 10. I really do. Jerry, be sure to put in your lesson ticker. Please keep your questions to the current lesson. Okay. Well, I might. The ticker's kind of long already. So I don't know. I'll try to remind people of that, I guess. I think I think what you're getting at there, and where I've already thought about, is that people try to get ahead. They're asking questions that are further down the line, and I'll try to control that because I've already thought about that. Dottie Hildebrand, wow, that young man has a talent with words. I think we will be seeing him in his writings. Yeah, he's an exceptional kid. I'm not lying to you. I say these things and people think, you're just a proud grandpa type thing. He's been different all the way through. I'm not making this up when I tell you these things. These are 100% true. He was in, like, what do you call that little thing they're laying in, a pumpkin seat or something, where you lay them in that little seat when they're like 2 months old, and they're laying there, and they can't do nothing, they can't move, they can't turn their head hardly. But from that very, very, very early age, I'm talking baby age, he, like if the television was on, his head was turned to the television. And if you walk between him and the television, he's like this. He's trying to move. Even at that little young 2-month-old age, he's trying to move his head where he can see around you. I just thought that was crazy exceptional. I've never seen a baby do that. A little tiny baby, And then when he's 8 months old, the babysitter, meets my daughter, mom and dad, she meets the mom and dad at the door when they come home. And she's just all excited going, do you know he can whistle? She's screaming at him. He's like 8 months old and he can whistle. He's just crazy good like that. He just crazy stuff that he did that I've never seen other little kids do it. And then he was only 2 in preschool, and he would come home from school. And he talked like an adult when he was 2. He really did. I'm not just saying that. He would carry on a full conversation. You just talk. It wasn't baby talk. and he'd say, Mom, do you know who Donald Trump is? And she'd go, well, yeah, honey, I know who Donald Trump is. She goes, well, you know what? A lot of people don't like him. And of course, he's hearing that at school, I'm sure, And he just, so those of you who are preschool teachers, you might want to keep stuff like that in mind. Yeah, he was something else, just something else. Totally different on a different level than all the other grandkids have been. I think he'll cure cancer or something. He's going to do something great in this world. I don't know what it is, but he's different than most other kids. And of course, he's already a straight A student type thing too. So, but he's also different in that he likes to get out and do stuff, where he doesn't just sit there and do this all day either. He does that. Don't get me wrong. He's just like every other kid. He's the one that showed me that trick on Google, to make the image search faster or easier. But he likes to get out and do stuff. He's out playing the whole time he's here for the most part. So that's a good thing. And in the creek and in the pond, and he's just constantly doing something, fishing, whatever. Tom Armstrong, what was your first car? Well, my first car was, let's see. My first car was a 65 Chevy Impala 4-door. It was my mom and dad's car. I bought it from them for $500, and they upgraded to a new car, And it wasn't much. It only had a 283, I think it was. It was a V8, but it was a 283, Just a big boat with a real small paddle. And I think they liked it that way. They didn't want me out hot rodding around, And I kept it for a number of years. And then I got another big boat. I think my next one was a Ford Galaxy 500. It was also a 4-door. But I got such a steal deal on the thing. It was, it was only a year or two old when I got it. And I got it for like $1,000 or $500. I don't remember. It was not very much money. And, it was a lot for me because I was a kid. But it was a police car that had, been decommissioned or whatever, and it had some decently high mileage for as new as it was, but it was in really, really good shape, and got it for a steal deal. So that was my second car. So I wasn't big into hot rods and things like that anyway. The way I was raised, that wouldn't be a thing you'd want to do. So anyway. And Bill Webb, yes, do a water wheel intro. That would be nice. Well, I'll consider that. Again, I don't know if my pay grade will allow that, but I'll give it a shot. Ben Boyd, your grandson should submit that to the Missouri Game and Fish Office. I thought about that too. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. He obviously has a lot of talent and should definitely cultivate it if he enjoys writing. Yeah, he wrote that out of just on his own, and what I think is his idea was he was wanting to make it into a song. He didn't know how to get it into a song. It's hard, and even that for me, I'm trying to think, I don't know if I could turn that into a song exactly, and use the exact words and stuff. I'm sure somebody more talented at music than me could do it, but I'm not sure I can do that without song, but you never know. It's a beautiful poem, though, Zappa, some old shop machines have twist lever switches. Yeah. Ronald Todd, Jerry, it's gotta make you feel very proud that your grandson had those kind of feelings about hunting and fishing. Maybe you had a little to do with that. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit. Yep, I'm proud of him for sure. He's a really good kid. I mean, super good kid. Super nice. He volunteers at school all the time to help the special needs kids. Like he leads them around the school and helps them find where they need to go, things like that, And the teachers are always sending home wonderful notes about things that he does to help others and stuff like that. He's just really a good-hearted kid. Just, you couldn't ask for anything better. Now, his little brother, Leighton, yeah, you talk about night and day differences. Leighton's really smart too. He seems to be really on top of things, but he's a firecracker. He's on fire the whole time. He can't sit still. He's into football, and the boy can't wait to play tackle. And yet he's a pipsqueak. He's a little guy. He's not big in stature at all. And, I wrote that little short song about him, and I said, I wrote the first part about Trinian, and then I said, his little brother Leighton is a certified football nut. Though quite small in stature, he can knock them on their butt. And then I said, the fastest kid on two legs, you never saw the like. Well, he can be in the end zone by the time the ball is hiked. He is. He's super, super fast. And pretty much every tackle, and tackle in his league presently is pulling a flag. Pretty much every, flag pulling, he's involved in it. He gets 80% of the flags for the team. He really does. He's just into it like you would not believe how a kid could be into something so much. He's so into football. It's just unbelievable. And he knows all the teams, and he knows most of the players on most of the teams. And he knows the history behind them, too. I mean, he's eat up with it. So he is a certified football nut. Jelvis Skidmark's band. I would absolutely be in for the mandolin lesson vlog. I bought one about a year ago and would appreciate some instruction. I'm a guitar uke player. Well, I think you'll find it very easy. If you already are a guitar player or a uke player or something like that, I think you'll find it incredibly easy to get going. And, you know, if you're, I don't know how accomplished you are on your uke or your guitar, but I bet you it'll improve those as well, the way we teach this. I think, you know, maybe I'm trying to make too much out of it, but I think you'll find it's pretty cool. Let's see. David Thorpe. I'll bet the inventor of the Ferris wheel never met the inventor of the merry-go-round. They moved in different circles. Speaking of that, my daughter Lisa took the boys, Trinian and Layton, to the City Museum. I told you about that already, but the City Museum is something pretty cool to see if you're in St. Louis, so you should put that on your checklist if you're coming through St. Louis. And anyway, on top of I think it's a 12-story building. On top of the 12-story building, first of all, they have a bus hanging off of one corner, and it's like half hanging off of the building. It's not like just the front wheels are off. It's pretty far off the building, and yet you can go in the bus and walk around in it and go out to the end, and you know it's just part of the City Museum. And on top of the building, they also have a Ferris wheel, and the boys are up on top of there riding the Ferris wheel. Not me. I'm not good at heights like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't think I could go out on that bus either. I just don't think I could do it. But they've got, you know, pictures of them out there on the Ferris wheel and in the bus and all that stuff. It's not me. Let's see, Ronald Todd. Can the mandolin lessons relate to the guitar? Yes, and I really think they do relate. And you'll probably, you know, I don't have anything specifically planned right now, but I in the past, I would generally relate some things back to the guitar when I talk about the mandolin lessons. So that'll probably happen just naturally anyway. Zappa says it's raining in St. Louis. Okay. Well, I don't think it's raining here. I don't think there's anything going on out there. I could be wrong. Bill Webb, Ronald, yes, it will relate and open up the fretboard for the guitar. Yeah, I think it will. I think you'll find it very helpful. I hesitate to say this because I don't know. You know me, I can't sugarcoat nothing. I got to say it like I say it. There's a lot of snobbery in mandolins. There's a lot of it. The people that can play one really well. Now, I don't find it so much with the boys down in Springfield. Jeremy, you know, he doesn't seem to be the snobbery type. But there's a lot of them that really, 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 really are. God, I can't even tell you how I don't know how to explain it. Their nose is in the air, you know, and anything else you do that's outside of their norm, it just ain't right, no matter what you say or how you do it. And so I'm expecting to get a little bit of that kind of pushback and feedback and kind of stuff. But if the rest of you can ignore that, I'm going to ignore it for the most part, because that will probably happen, and that will, like one of the comments, whenever I show you guys how I play lead, I get it almost every time, is, the way you play lead, that's real limiting. You can't do it like that, you know. Okay, fine, whatever, you know. But, you get that kind of thing. And so I'm a little bit concerned about that, but beyond that, and if you can ignore it, I'll ignore it, and we'll just go on, you know. Let's see. Yeah, Bill says you have every right to be proud. Don't apologize for that. Bruce Moore, Jerry, have you ever heard the Brandenburger family on YouTube? I'm pretty sure I have. I know that name. Can't place them at the moment, but I'm pretty sure I have. They play bluegrass gospel, and they also are very talented. Yeah, there's a lot of families like that. In fact, it seems like I may have met them. I'm bad with remembering stuff like that. It all runs together on me because there's been so much of it in the career, you know. Ronald Todd, my second car was a 65 Chevy Bel Air. Yep, there you go. Yours was probably a two-door, though. Yeah, mine was a big old boxy four-door. Carolyn Fike, my first car was a 50 Buick Electra, a tank. Yeah, those cars back in the 50s and 60s, they weren't anything but tanks. I mean, it was in the 70s they started maybe changing a little, but I guess it was more 80s, and then they were kind of mid-size, and then they started changing them a lot. Bill Webb, a simple chord progression with a couple minor chords would sound good. A simple chord progression with a couple. Good for what? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I probably lost the context again. Let's see. Michael Peters, just put an offer on a mandolin so I can take your lessons. Been playing guitar all my life, but have always been intrigued by the mandolin. Well, I think you'll like it, and I really do. I don't want to build it up so much, but I seriously think everybody's going to like it. I really do. I rarely get negative feedback on the mandolin training. Rarely ever. And in fact, I don't recall any, to be honest with you. Don't forget the thumbs up. Simon Jardine, Jerry, I thought I was good with heights until I went up a tower with a glass floor on the top level. I held the guardrail until a lift returned. Yeah, that would not be good for me. A glass floor, you'd just about have to shoot me in the head to get me to stand on that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not good with that kind of thing. You know, I think most of you remember when I was telling, this was back way before I got the better internet and all that, one of my first internets, I had to put a 65-foot high tower up on top of one of my highest hills. In fact, it was probably the highest point on the farm, and I put a 65-foot tall tower there to get above the trees and to have a straight line to Rolla. Well, I had to climb that about a half a dozen times after it was up. I put it up without climbing it at all. I wired it all on the ground, and I made a rig on my Bobcat to stand a 65-foot tall tower up with my Bobcat. Now, that's doing something. But I got it done, and the day it was finished, the guy came out to install the antenna on top of it. Now, I'm not kidding you. This is the first tower I've ever constructed in my life. It's the first one. Never done it before. It looked good. Everything looked solid. All that. This guy comes out. He don't know me from Adam. He runs up that tower. Now, I'm not kidding you when I say runs up the tower. If it was laying on the ground, I couldn't get to the end of the tower hardly any faster than he climbed it. I mean, like if I was running down, not running, but, if I was walking really fast to get to the end of the tower, I would say he got to the tower about that fast. And I'm talking walking really fast because he just ran up that tower. So when he gets to the top, now he doesn't know me. He doesn't know how well it's anchored or anything. He just does it. When he gets to the top, you think, well, he's going to stop, obviously, right? I'm already sweating from watching him go up this tower that fast. He doesn't stop when he gets to the top. And you think, well, he's got to stop. No, he doesn't. He went right up to the top and stands on top of the little triangle thing that's at the top. He's standing on top of that. Nothing to hold on to. He's above it. He's standing on top of it. I'm about to have a heart attack. I'm not kidding you. I'm sweating through my clothes. It's just... scaring the living. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. It just about killed me. It really did. If I'd have had a weak heart, I'd have had a heart attack right there. Some people just aren't afraid of heights. Whew. It was all I could do. The first time I climbed it to have to work on whatever it was I had to work on, it was all I could do to turn my hand loose to reach. I'm seriously telling you. After about the third time, I got where I could trust the thing I was hanging on, and I could get both hands in work. But man, it took a lot of doing. And by the fifth or sixth time I ended up climbing the darn thing over the several years that we had it, I was okay with it. I could do it, but it still wasn't my favorite thing by any stretch. But that guy, I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating how he did it. He ran up that thing and then stood on top of it. And, the whole triangle thing's about maybe 12 inches triangle, maybe that big. Whew. Yeah, not me. You'd never see me do that. Let's see. Ronald Todd, number 4-door, same as yours with a straight 6. You couldn't kill it. Yep. Charles Sockowitz. So you had your Bel Air was a 4-door. Yep. It seemed like I remember seeing a lot of 2-door Bel Airs. I don't remember seeing very many 4-door Bel Airs. But then again, I don't remember a lot of those days. Charles Sockowitz, thanks, Jerry. I don't think it will change your teaching methods in any way. They rely on contributions and provide practice lessons between meets. Okay. I'll look at it and see what their format is, because it might be helpful for me for doing this. I think as far as the actual lessons go, I've pretty much got that figured out in my head how we'll do that. But there could be some things I could learn from it. Bruce Hatch, have you heard of Dirty Kitchen Band? Yeah. I know the guy's name that runs that. It's such and so and Dirty Kitchen, or that's the name of his band. I can't think of who they are right now, but I used to play when I was a DJ. I was playing some of his music. I just can't remember, me and names. Let's see, Dottie Hildebrand. If you get off the cuff comments, we can just block them. Yep. Yeah, well, there really is a lot of snobbery in mandolin playing. A lot. That's exactly why. And I'm telling you 100% why I don't get on the mandolin forums. Oh my gosh. It just turns me off so fast. I can't stand it. So I just don't get on the mandolin forums at all. David Tharp, 167 viewers and only 70 thumbs up. Yeah, well, let's change that, guys. 172 right now. So please do click the thumbs up if you would. Bill Webb, I was referring to music for Trinian's poem. Oh, I got you. Okay, well, see, yeah, you're going to have to say what you mean, because of the context and stuff. I would never have connected that back to his poem. I thought you were talking about the intro or something, and I didn't know what you were talking about. Carolyn Fike, speaking of heights going up in the arch. Oh, my gosh, yeah, I did that. Have you ever ridden inside of a clothes dryer? That's not a rhetorical question. It's a real question. Have you ever ridden or gotten inside of a clothes dryer? That's what it's like going up in the St. Louis Arch. It's just like a clothes dryer, a little bit bigger, but you're kind of bent over sitting in this thing that's just like a clothes dryer, and it just goes up like this, and it tilts to keep you level, as it goes. It's like sitting in a clothes dryer. It really is. And of course, the day I get up there, the Rosa luck kicks in, and it just happened to be one of the windy days, and that arch was swaying, and you could feel it swaying. And I said, "This thing's swaying." And they go, "Yeah, it does that all the time. It's fine." Whew, man, it was really swaying the day we were up there. I only went up there one time, and that was plenty. Sue's dad, by the way, Sue's father, he was I don't know, I hesitate calling him a construction foreman, but he was he was on the job there. And he was one of the very first people, and first as in probably the first 40 or 50 people that went up to the top of that thing. And he climbed it by hand. They didn't have the elevators in yet. He climbed the ladder all the way up to the top of the thing on the inside. Not me. Oh my God. What is that, 600 and some feet up there, I think it is? Not this boy. I'd just say, go ahead and shoot. You could put a gun to my head. I'd just say, pull the trigger. Because I'm not climbing that sucker. There ain't no way you get me to do that. Because I think the ladder, too, I can't remember exactly how. Maybe it was all on just that one side. I don't know. But, you got to remember that it's almost straight up. It's not straight up. It arches, obviously, because it's an arch. But it's, it wouldn't be something I could do. I'd never do that. Zappa, the parachutist who slid down the side of the arch, went to my church. Bad personal decision. Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but I can't remember. Did he die? I guess he did, didn't he? Yeah, I think he did. Well, I'm not sure about that, but it seemed like he might have. Yeah, the arch is definitely something else, man. It's a really cool thing. Fortunately, living in the St. Louis area, we drove by that. I had some grandparents. My mom's parents lived in Illinois, and actually several of the relatives did, and we would go to Illinois every once in a while. So we'd have to cross over the bridge there, and we'd see the progress on the arch being built, and it was really cool to actually get to see the whole thing getting built, and see the different stages of it. Yeah, Barry Cook says, your video on the Nashville number system as it applies to the mandolin fretboard was very helpful for me. Thanks. Well, good. And that's basically how we're going to, evolve the lessons into that. It'll be basically the same lesson that you can buy. And I'm hoping that it'll stimulate some people to go ahead and buy it, but not so much for that. I just figure it's time to try this one time and see how it goes, and I think everybody's going to enjoy it. Yeah. Zappa says, "Oh yeah, he died." Yeah. Well, I thought he did, but that was a long time ago. I wonder when that was. Was that in the late 60s or 70s? Maybe, I don't know when that was. A long time ago. Well, guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for being so nice to me. I will not be here until next Monday, I think. And I don't know if I'll get any videos out between now and then. I might. I had intended to get some out. Yeah. There's a lot to do. It's just not easy being me. You probably never heard that before. I'll see you when I see you. Thanks.